talk about the world's most popular psychoactive drug. Billions of us use it every single day, most of the time without even thinking about it. Yeah, I'm talking about caffeine. That sounds super dramatic, but it's kinda true. This isn't some back alley substance. It's everywhere. And what it's doing to our brains is way more complicated than just waking us up in the morning. And get this, the average person consumes over 300 milligrams of caffeine every single day. That's a lot. So to really understand what's going on, we gotta look at what's happening inside our own heads. So how does this stuff actually work? How does a simple cup of coffee take you from zombie mode to, well, a functioning human? It all comes down to a tiny chemical war happening in your brain. Okay, so from the moment you wake up, your brain starts producing a chemical called adenosine. The easiest way to think about it is sleep pressure. The longer you're awake, the more of this stuff builds up, and that pressure just gets higher and higher, making you feel sleepy. The only way to get rid of it? You gotta sleep. That's when your brain finally gets to clear it all out. So here's where caffeine pulls off its greatest magic trick. Turns out caffeine molecules look almost identical to adenosine, so when you have your coffee, that caffeine races up to your brain and basically steals adenosine's parking spot. It's like an unwanted squatter in your neural receptors. The adenosine is still there, trying to tell your brain it's tired, but it can't deliver the message. The receptor is blocked, so your brain gets completely fooled into thinking it's wide awake. But every magic trick has a price. That feeling of alertness doesn't last forever. And what comes next is the part we all know and hate, the crash, which kicks off a nasty cycle of craving and dependency. Right, so here's the crucial part. While caffeine is busy squatting in those receptors, your body hasn't stopped making adenosine. Oh no, it's been building up and up and up the whole time, creating this massive backlog of sleepiness that's just waiting. Caffeine has what's called a half-life of about 6 hours. So as your body starts to break it down, those squatters get evicted and the receptors finally open up again. And what happens? It's like a dam breaking. A huge tidal wave of all that built-up adenosine comes flooding in all at once. And the result? You crash hard. You suddenly feel even more tired than you did before. And that, right there, is how the dependency cycle gets you. To avoid that horrible crash, what's the first thing you do? You grab another coffee, right? And the whole process starts all over again. Before you know it, you can't even function without it, and you get headaches and feel sluggish if you try to stop. And the problems don't stop when you feel the crash. Oh no, caffeine's effects stick around for a long, long time. One study found that having a coffee even in the afternoon, not the evening, the afternoon, can slash your total sleep that night by a full hour. And it's not just about getting less sleep, it's about getting worse sleep. When caffeine is still in your system at bedtime, it tanks the amount of deep or restorative sleep you get. And that's the good stuff. That's what you need for muscle repair, for a strong immune system, for actually having energy the next day. So you wake up feeling tired, you reach for the coffee, and, well, you see the pattern. Okay, so it can mess with your sleep and make you dependent. But can it get worse than that? Can your daily habit actually be dangerous? Let's talk about the dose and when it can become truly lethal. For your average healthy adult, the estimated lethal dose of caffeine is about 10 grams. Now, that number probably means nothing to you on its own, so let's actually put that into perspective. To get to that deadly 10-gram mark, you would have to down about 158 shots of espresso. Your body literally can't hold that much liquid, so it's almost impossible to overdose on coffee. But look at the other things on this list. Suddenly the numbers get a lot smaller. And that last one, that's just terrifying. See, the danger just skyrockets with concentration. The real risk isn't your morning latte, it's these super concentrated forms. Energy drinks can pack more than double the punch of coffee. And then there's pure powdered caffeine, which is just on a whole other planet. A single teaspoon can have almost 4,000 milligrams. That's how tragedies happen. Okay, but here is where this whole story gets absolutely fascinating. It turns out that everything we've talked about so far, the buzz, the crash, even the risks, it's not the same for everyone. The real answer is written in your DNA. So let me ask you this. Are you one of those people who can slam an espresso after dinner and then sleep like a rock? Or are you the person who has one cup in the morning and you're still buzzing at midnight? The reason for that might just be genetic. So scientists have pinpointed a specific gene called CYP1A2. But you can just call it the caffeine gene. This little bit of code tells your liver how to make the enzyme that breaks down caffeine. And basically, it comes in two flavors, a fast version and a slow version. And the difference between these two is staggering. It's not a small thing. If you have the fast version, your body chews through caffeine 4 times faster. 4 times! You could drink 4 cups of coffee and feel the same effect that a slow metabolizer feels from just one. But check out the health risk. For slow metabolizers, drinking 4 or more cups a day was linked to a 36% higher risk of a heart attack. And for the fast metabolizers, no increased risk at all. That is a massive difference. So, after all this, the brain chemistry, the crashes, the genetics, what's the final verdict on caffeine? Is this thing our friend or our foe? Well, first let's bust one last myth, and then we'll weigh the evidence. Come on, we've all heard this one, right? Caffeine is a diuretic, which means it makes you pee a little more, so everyone just assumes that coffee must be dehydrating. Yeah, that's just false. The tiny diuretic effect is completely overwhelmed by all the water that's actually in the coffee. So the net result is that you are actually hydrating yourself, not losing water. A normal cup of coffee is pretty much just as hydrating as a glass of water. And in fact, there is a bright side. As long as it's in moderation, we're talking less than 4 cups a day, there's some pretty strong evidence that coffee has real health benefits. Studies have linked it to a lower risk of type 2 diabetes, lower rates of depression, and it might even help protect against Alzheimer's and some cancers. Which brings it all back to the most important question. Caffeine isn't a simple hero or a simple villain. Its effect on you is deeply personal, and it all comes down to your own genetic code. So the real question isn't just how much is too much, it's how much is too much for you.